का रेड बटन दिखाई देता है, आप अपनी प्रेजेंट करें। प्रेजेंट करते ही मैं वापस से इसको स्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ वीडियो को। बुक को अपने साथ रखिए और नोटबुक अपने साथ रखिए। जो भी जरूरी चीज़ें आपको लगती हैं आप उन्हें वहाँ नोट करते रहिए। जहाँ प्रॉब्लम आए आप अपना हाथ उठा करके मुझे बताइए, रेज हैंड्स का जो बटन है उसे क्लिक करिए, या फिर बीच में बोल करके कमेंट करके मुझे बताइएगा। जहाँ कोई चीज़ समझने की होगी, पूछने की होगी, वहाँ पे। चलिए कंटिन्यू करते हैं।
Let us learn the chapter Agriculture. When it comes to agriculture, in India, we practice different types of agriculture. Mainly, the agriculture in India can be classified as one is primitive subsistence farming, then it is intensive subsistence farming, and the third one is commercial farming. Let us learn them one by one. Talking about the first one, primitive subsistence farming. Now, major part of India practices primitive subsistence farming because most of the farmers are poor farmers and they have small land holdings. So, they mainly cultivate crops for their own family. If there is anything in excess, they will go and sell it in the nearby market. Such a farming, which is done mainly for their family, is known as subsistence farming. Now, this type of farming is practiced on small patches of land because the farmers are poor. It is done with the help of primitive tools like hoe, dhow, and digging sticks. This type of farming depends upon one is rainfall, that is monsoon. Then natural fertility of the soil because the farmer is not rich enough to buy chemical fertilizers or arrange for organic manure. Third, the suitability of other environmental conditions. That is, only in the rainy season, and if it rains properly, he will cultivate, or else the land will lie waste. The members who are involved in farming activity is family members. So family or community labor is involved. Now within subsistence farming, we also have something called shifting cultivation. That is practiced by tribal people living in remote and faraway areas. Now they burn and clear a patch of land in the mountainous forest areas. Then they produce cereals and other food crops, mainly to sustain their family. They will cultivate crops which they can easily cook and eat in their daily meals. They will not grow commercial crops like cotton or sugarcane because they all require to be processed in the industries. Now they are practicing agriculture on mountain slopes. So within few years, the fertility of the land is lost. The reason is the soil will easily drain away along with the water. When the soil fertility decreases, the farmers clear a fresh patch of land. They will abandon the earlier land. Now, what will happen to the abandoned land? In due course, the soil may regain fertility or it will leave a barren patch of land. So we can say this type of shifting allows nature to replenish the fertility. In this type of farming, the land productivity is low because the farmer does not use fertilizers or other modern inputs. And in different part of the country, it is known by different names. Like for example, when it comes to northeastern part of India, it is known as zooming cultivation. So zooming is a well-known name in Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, and Mizoram. Then in Nagaland, it is known as Pamalau. In Chhattisgarh, it is known as Deepa in the Bastar district. Now we shall learn intensive subsistence farming. Intensive subsistence farming is practiced in those areas where the density of population is high and the land holdings are small. That is, the land available with a family is small lands. So there is high population pressure on the land. So we can conclude that the land holdings are small. This is due to the right of inheritance. That is, say a farmer has a big piece of land, say entire village, but he also had four children, so the land was divided among four children. When these four children grew up, they also had four children each. So the same piece of land got divided into 16 parts. In this way, the land continuously got divided, and today the farmers have a small patch of land. Now, in order to get maximum output from the limited land, the farmer uses one is irrigation facility, because with irrigation they can utilize the land throughout the year. Irrigation means cultivation of crops with the help of supplied water. Then it is use of HYV seeds, high yielding variety seeds. These seeds are developed with biotechnology and they are utilized only in those areas which have irrigation facility, that is assured supply of water. These seeds will take less time to grow and will give more amount of grains. Many a times they are also developed in such a way that they are pest resistant, that is, they will not be attacked by pests. Then it is use of biochemical fertilizers and pesticides. Now, you may say we have to add machines also, but here machines are not used because the land holdings are small and the population pressure is high. So it is labor intensive farming. So these are the features of intensive subsistence farming. It is practiced in areas where the density of population is high and the land available per family is small. Then comes commercial farming. Now the name itself tells that farming done in order to sell the products in the market will be called as commercial farming. In subsistence farming, the farmer was cultivating crops for his own family. But here the farmer is cultivating crops to sell it in the market. Now, the main characteristics of this type of farming is using higher doses of modern inputs in order to obtain higher productivity. Now again, the higher doses of modern inputs will be almost same as we have learned in intensive farming, and that is first one, irrigation facility. But this will be with of modern machines on a bigger piece of land. Next is use of high yielding variety seeds, which I told you takes less time to grow and gives more grain. Supposing I take rice, generally the traditional rice will take 6 months to grow, but HYV seeds can grow within 3 months. So the farmer can harvest the crops just after 3 months instead of 6 months. Next is use of chemical fertilizers. Then it is use of insecticides and pesticides. The degree of commercialization of agriculture varies in India from one region to another. Supposing I take Punjab and Haryana. We all know they are agriculturally rich states. So here, most of the farmers will be cultivating crops in order to sell in the market. But if I take Odisha, here majority of the farmers are poor, the land holdings is small, and they will be growing maybe the same crop, say rice, and they are cultivating it for their own family. Next comes plantation farming. Now, when it comes to plantation farming is cultivation of, say, tea, coffee, spices, rubber, even coconuts. They all come in the category of plantation farming. Now, why are they called plantation farming? Because they are permanently planted, and unlike rice or wheat, they are not harvested after 3, 4, or 6 months. So say once a tea crop is planted, it will give tea leaves for at least 50 years. If rubber trees are planted, the rubber tree will give income to the farmer for at least 20 years. So they are called plantation farming. Now, what are the features? So, plantation farming is actually a type of commercial farming. In this type of farming, only a single crop is grown over a large area. Then the plantation actually has an interface of agriculture and industry. Supposing I'm growing coffee plantations. Along with that, I would require an industry. The reason is coffee berries need to be processed. Same is with tea, same is with coconuts. The plantations cover large tract of land and they use heavy capital intensive inputs. So a lot of money is poured into it. It requires high investment. Only then it is done. It cannot be done by small farmers. This kind of work also requires large number of laborers. And these laborers are mostly migrant laborers. Supposing in Assam, there are people required for plucking the tea leaves. The laborers would be coming from Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and places like these. Then it is used as a raw material in respective industries because we have seen that it cannot run without an industry. And most of these products are exported on a large scale. Supposing tea from India or coffee from India is exported to other countries on a very big scale. Then we talk about different cropping season. The first one is the Kharif cropping. Now, when I say Kharif crops are also called as monsoon crops. The reason is the seeds are sown at the beginning of the monsoon. They are cultivated mainly between June and October. The examples of crops that are cultivated are one is rice, which is widely cultivated in India and that too at the beginning of the rainy season. The second important crop is jawar. Now, these two are classic examples of Kharif crop. Apart from that, in our country, we cultivate a variety of crops such as maize, bajra, tur, moong, urad, cotton, jute, groundnut, and soya bean. So these are a few examples of Kharif crop. Now in India, when I say Kharif crop can also be called as summer crops. When it comes to South India cultivates crops like rice and even jawar throughout the year. The reason is they don't have anything called winter season. Winter season means it is a pleasant time. That's all. They really don't feel the winter. Winter is nicely experienced only in the northern part of India. That is why in the northern part of India, they cannot grow these crops in the winter season. Now we talk about Rabi crops. Rabi crops are winter crops. Rabi crops are sown in winter from October to December and harvested in summer from April to June. The classic example of a Rabi crop is winter crop and mustard. These are widely cultivated in northern part of India during winters. The other crops are barley, peas, and gram. Then we have Zaid crops. Now, what are Zaid crops? In between the Rabi and Kharif, there are a few breaks. In these short durations, we can cultivate many other crops, like we have the watermelon and muskmelon. So they will be put in the category of Zaid crops. The other examples are cucumber, vegetables, fodder crops. Okay, all these are cultivated when we are not cultivating Rabi or Kharif crops. So this is the end of part 1, In the second part, we shall learn in detail about the growth of all the major crops in India.
My job is to make college easier because students have a lot on their mind.
In this second part, we shall begin with learning about the major crops that are cultivated in India. Well, the major crops that are cultivated in India are rice, wheat, millets like jawar, bajra, ragi. Then it is different type of pulses, tea, coffee, sugarcane, oil seeds, cotton, jute, etc. Talking about the first crop, and that is rice. It is the major crop of India, and maximum area in India is under the cultivation of rice. Actually, rice is the major crop of the world. So even in the world, if we take up, this is the first crop. Now in India, it is the staple food crop of majority of the people in India. Then it is the second largest producer of rice because China is first. It is cultivated as a kharif crop. We know kharif crop means the seeds are sown at the beginning of the rainy season. And the requirement of temperature is that it must be above 25 degrees. Generally, most of the crops, if you see, are cultivated between 21 to 27 degrees Celsius. That is the ideal temperature conditions that is required. In case of rice, the temperature is slightly more, so it is given about 25 degrees. And high humidity. Why high humidity? Generally, it is grown in heavy rainfall areas, and the rainfall must be more than 100 centimeters. In areas of less rainfall, it can be cultivated, like states of Punjab, Haryana, they cultivate it with the help of irrigation. Now, rice is grown in India in the states of, the state which ranks first in India for the cultivation of rice is West Bengal. Then it is Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Punjab. So these are some of the important states that cultivate rice. This does not mean that other states don't. Almost, I will say, all the states in India produce rice. Our next crop is wheat. When it comes to wheat, this is the second most important cereal crop after rice in India. And in the world also, we rank second after US. It is the main food crop in north as well as northwestern part of the country because it is cultivated as a rabi crop. It is a crop that requires cool climate. And in India, winter is nicely experienced only in the northern part of India. Southern part of India, throughout the year, the season is Kharif. Because winter is very mild in the southern part, that is say below Maharashtra. So wheat is the main food crop in north and northwestern part of the country. Now this is cultivated as a rabi crop. Rainfall is low, that is, it can be cultivated within 50 to 75 centimeters. And since this is cultivated in the winter season, and Punjab, Haryana, these are all states that are lucky, they receive light showers in winter season. In a year, they get 5 to 6 decent showers of rainfall because of temperate cyclones that originate in the Mediterranean Sea, and they bring rainfall here. And that much water is enough for the cultivation of wheat. The major wheat producing states are Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, even Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. Then you will also see small patches in Gujarat and Maharashtra. The state that is leading in the production is Uttar Pradesh. And when it comes to per hectare production, it is Punjab that is leading. Then we learn about millet crops. Now, what are millet crops? Jawar, bajra, ragi, these are counted as millets because these are coarse grains. They can be cultivated even in the areas where the fertility of the soil is low and the amount of rainfall is less. So even with low rainfall, like 50 to 60 centimeters of rainfall, and when it is properly distributed, these grains have high nutritional value. So that is a good thing about it. When we eat rice, when we eat wheat, they have only carbohydrates. We eat them and that gets converted into sugar. But it is different when it comes to ragi, bajra, and jawar. Talking about jawar, jawar is the third most important food crop with respect to area and production. And in the world, we rank first. It is cultivated as a kharif crop. Actually, when it comes to southern part, even Maharashtra, it is cultivated throughout the year. Because I said in the southern part, there is nothing called Rabi. Winter is mild. It is a rain-fed crop and mostly grown in the moist areas which hardly needs irrigation. And we know that when it comes to major part of Maharashtra, they receive low rainfall and that is enough for the cultivation of jawar. Probably that is the reason Maharashtra produces jawar on a large scale. Major jawar producing states are Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh. Then it is bajra. When it comes to bajra, bajra grows well on sandy soils, means it is Rajasthan, Gujarat, these kind of areas. And even in the areas with shallow black soil. Major bajra producing states are, one is Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Haryana, Gujarat. These are the leading states. Next to bajra is ragi. Ragi is a crop of dry region and grows well on red, black, sandy, loamy, and even shallow black soils. And this is what is found when it comes to southern part of India. Ragi again is very rich in iron, calcium, nutrients, and even roughage. Major ragi producing states are, one is Karnataka, then Tamil Nadu, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and Jharkhand. Talking about next crop, and that is maize. Now, first one, it is a crop which is used both as a food crop as well as a fodder crop. It is a kharif crop, requires temperature between 21 to 27, and grows well in old alluvial soil. So where do we find old alluvial soil? Mostly in the North Indian plains. So North Indian plains is one of the best grounds for growing maize, and it is cultivated actually all over India. Major maize producing states are Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana. Next to that is pulses. When it comes to pulses, they are different type of dal. Pulses again are very rich in protein. So, who is the largest
अगर तुम पेरिस में नहीं मिलती तो एम्स्टर्डम में मिलती दुनिया के किसी भी गली कूचे गांव चक्के से तुम्हें ढूंढ निकाल
producer of pulses in the world? And of course, it is India. So, India is the largest producer and consumer of pulses in the world. It is a major source of protein in the vegetarian diet. Because I said, if we are eating rice or wheat, they only have carbohydrates. For protein, we require pulses. And that is why it is said that it is the main source of protein in a vegetarian diet. Now, the major pulses that are cultivated in India are tur dal. So, tur, it is also called arhar. Then is udad, moong, masoor, peas, and gram. They require less moisture, means they can be grown even with low rainfall, it's between 50 to 75 centimeters of rainfall, and can survive even dry conditions. It is cultivated as a leguminous crop. That means it can fix nitrogen from the air, except arhar dal. Therefore, these are mostly grown in rotation with other crops. Say, if we cultivate cotton, cotton takes away nitrogen from the soil. So next time we must cultivate pulses. The reason is they add nitrogen to the soil. In this way, the soil fertility is maintained. Now the states. The major states producing pulses are, first one is Madhya Pradesh. So Madhya Pradesh is leading. Then Rajasthan, Maharashtra, and Uttar Pradesh. So if we take pulses, we grow soya bean, black gram, arhar dal as kharif crop. Then it is green gram as rabi as well as kharif crop. When it comes to masoor dal, or it is Bengal gram, which is also called chana dal, is cultivated as rabi crop. Our next crop is sugarcane. Now, what is the lifespan of sugarcane? For a sugarcane crop to completely grow, it takes 1 whole year. Generally, sometimes it is harvested even within 10 to 11 months also. But we can say nearly 1 year. And from sugarcane, India mainly utilizes it for making jaggery, or it is khandasari, and then it is sugar. These are produced on a very large scale in our country. Now, which country ranks first in the world in sugarcane production? The country is Brazil. Nearly half of the sugarcane that is produced in the world comes from Brazil. And nearly 22 to 25% production is from India. So India is second and Brazil is first. But there is a big difference. For sugar, India uses sugarcane. But it is not necessary all the countries use sugarcane. China makes sugar from sugar beet. It is a plant whose root contains high concentration of sucrose. And this is used for sugar production by China. If I take Arab countries, there the date.
Ayaka shoulders her family's duty to cherish the aspirations of ordinary people. But she also has dreams.
Grow in plenty. Even dates have that sweetness, that sucrose, that can be utilized for making sugar. So sugar can be made from anything that has sucrose in it, sweetness in it. Now talking about India. In India, sugarcane is grown as a tropical as well as subtropical crop. That means we know that the southern half of India is tropical and the northern part is subtropical. So most of the states in India, we can cultivate sugarcane. It grows well in hot and humid climate. The temperature requirement is 21 to 27 degrees. And we have seen most of the crops, that is kharif crops, they grow within this range. The rainfall must be more than 100 centimeters. Actually, it requires good amount of water. And if water is not there, even with the help of irrigation facility, we can cultivate this crop. That is why it is cultivated in Maharashtra. If we take Deccan Plateau region of Maharashtra, it is not a heavy rainfall areas. But again, Maharashtra grows sugarcane on a large scale. The reason is the soil, climate, and irrigation facilities. Now, this crop requires a lot of manual labor because everything is manually done. That is right from sowing to harvesting. India is the second largest producer of sugarcane after Brazil. But when it comes to sugar, India is first because Brazil utilizes sugarcane juice for making fuel out of it. Sugarcane is the main source for sugar, then it is jaggery, khandasari, and even molasses. Now, molasses is a thick, viscous liquid, dark brown color, and that again can be put into a variety of uses. Like it is used in bakery, it is the sweetener, it is also used for making rum. The major sugarcane producing states are, first one and the leading state is Uttar Pradesh. Then comes Maharashtra. Then Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. And even if you go to north, all the northern states, say Punjab, Haryana, Bihar, West Bengal, they all cultivate sugarcane. Even Kerala is a good place for growing sugarcane.
Hello everyone, welcome to Vega Plus Academy.
अब बेटा ये जो हमने 2 वीडियोस देखे हैं ये एग्रीकल्चर के 2 पार्ट हैं। इसके अलावा 2 पार्ट और भी हैं, उनको हम नेक्स्ट क्लास में देखेंगे। इनको मैंने आपको व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे भी शेयर किया है, आप इसको देखिएगा। हमारी वीडियो क्लास के बाद में हम इसे पीपीटी से और बुक से इसको पढ़ेंगे, ठीक है। तो रीडिंग टास्क में आज एग्रीकल्चर चैप्टर को रीड करिएगा, ओके।
यस सर।
ठीक है।
Yes.
और एक मैप भी दिया हुआ है, उस मैप को बनाइए ड्राइंग टास्क में। उस मैप में कौन कौन सी एरियाज है जहाँ पे राइस का कल्टीवेशन होता है, आपने देखा हो तो मैं आपको भी एक ग्रुप पे स्क्रीनशॉट शेयर करूंगा, उससे आप इसको देख सकते हैं, ओके।
यस सर।
मैंने आपको ये ग्रुप पे शेयर कर दिया है, इसे आप वहाँ देख सकते हैं।
यस सर।
यस, कोई चीज पूछनी है पूछ लीजिए बेटा। और आज एक टास्क भी दिया है, जो बच्चे यहाँ आए हैं उन्हें पता है। उस टास्क को भी आप लोग नोट करिएगा, कौन सी टास्क है जिसे आपको कंप्लीट करना है। ये मैंने आपको शेयर कर दिया है, ये मैप आपको ड्राइंग में बनाना है, ड्राइंग टास्क में इसको कर लीजिएगा। राइस के बारे में दिया हुआ है, ये कौन कौन से स्टेट हैं और कौन सा एरिया है, तो ड्राइंग बनाइए और इसके स्टेट्स की लिस्ट बना लीजिएगा, ठीक है।
यस सर। यस सर।